Hey everybody, so we're back outside today to take advantage of the nice weather. It does mean that there'll be some traffic issues or noise issues with traffic and stuff, but bear with me. So today we're back here for Potions Class Part 2. Some of you might know that I actually tried this video already, but there's an issue with the video, so that video's dead and gone. So today we're doing our third stage, technically, for Potion number 1, and our second stage for Potion number 2, which I'll be honest, I'm a little bit worried about. Told you about traffic. So what is the second stage? Basically, as the drink ferments, the sugar is going to get eaten up and the alcohol percentage is going to rise, so it's going to kill off all that yeast and that'll settle to the bottom of our cauldron, and that's known as the lees. So what you want to do is to rack the potion. You want to take it off all that lees so it's not affecting the flavor of your drink. So the first potion class would have been what's known as a primary fermentation, when you first put all the ingredients together and it begins to ferment. Then there's what's known as a secondary fermentation, which is when you first rack it. If there's still sugar there and there's still yeast alive there, it's going to continue to ferment. So you just want to take it off the dead yeast, so the lees, and let it continue to ferment on its own. Now, you would generally do that by siphoning it off. I don't have a siphon, so we're going to be filtering it off with the funnel that's inside sanitizing. So what I did with the unseen potions class, I did filter it off. I had a taste test then and it seems quite sweet, so I decided to add more yeast back into it to see if that would kickstart a fermentation again. So technically, while this is the third stage, it is the first effective rack. The second potion here is our summer fruits one. It is the reason that my wardrobe upstairs smells like wine, but when I lifted it up today, I could actually feel a little bit of dampness at the bottom of the bag, which makes me think that as it actually fermented, it got quite fizzy quite quickly because of the amount of sugar, and it may have overspilled slightly. The spillage I'm not worried about, but it's whether or not that broke the one-way seal on our valve, which would mean bacteria could have gotten in, which means we might have spent about a month making very expensive vinegar. So I'm hoping that didn't happen because I was really looking forward to that. So what have we got today? Today we have our potion batch 1 and our potion batch 2. We have 2 brand new still sealed cauldrons to rack them into. We have our filters and we have our balloons and stuff. I'm going to put another seal onto each of these just to make sure that if there's anything going on, it's getting out. I'm not sure if I'll need it for this one. We'll see when we do a taste test. And this one, if it tastes like alcohol, I'll do it. If it tastes like wine, or if it tastes rather like vinegar, that's getting chucked out. So that's that, and I think I've got it all covered. Oh, one last thing. A friend of mine recently asked me how I was going to test the alcohol percentage on these potions, and honestly the answer is I'm going to drink them. What would happen is if I had a hydrometer, we could take a specific gravity reading, both at Potions Class Part 1 and now. And the idea is a hydrometer looks like a little wand with a reading up here, and you drop it into your water and it should settle around 0. Okay? When you mix in your honey and stuff, that's going to change the density of the mixture, so it'll settle somewhere else because it'll float higher. And then with that reading being not 0, you can sort of do some maths and figure out the potential alcohol percentage at the final product. And the reason I would do it now is when we've taken off all the other stuff, it should settle to 0 if, for example, all the honey is gone. So if all the sugar has been fermented, that reading should be back at 0 because it'll have the same specific gravity as water. If it doesn't, we know it'll still be a bit sweet. Also, we know that there's still sugar available there, so it's possible that if there's still yeast alive, it'll continue to ferment. Also, the alcohol percentage could have actually gotten so high that it killed off the yeast, and it's just going to be a sweet drink. It's possible to do some maths if I had the right equipment. At the moment, I don't, so we're just going to go with smell first and taste second. So, okay, let's begin. So, this is our first batch. Now if you look closely along here, you can see a little bit of brownish scum. That would be dead yeast. There isn't a whole lot down the bottom. Now in fairness, it got shaken up a little bit as I brought it downstairs, obviously. So I don't think there's a whole lot of lees here, but it's still quite cloudy. The brown pieces on the top are the raisins I put in for yeast nutrition. So we're going to rack this and filter it off all of that bad stuff. We'll give it a little taste. It is quite cloudy. As you rack, leave it a few weeks and rack again, leave it a few weeks. Each time I'm filtering it off, it'll take out any impurities and stuff, so that should clear up and look a bit more like a mead as you'd expect from a shop or a store. I'm just going to go and get our filter equipment, so my funnel, and I actually have a sieve for this guy because of the amount of extra fruit in there. Okay, 1 second. So the first thing I'm going to do is take one of our new cauldrons and empty out the water. Here we go, brand new cauldron ready to go. I also have here a mug, and here I have my sieve and my funnel that have been sanitizing inside. That water is incredibly hot. So the reason I've got the mug is because I'm going to use one of these paper coffee filters in the funnel, so we can use the filter paper to remove any large chunks of stuff like raisins. But I also have a kettle of freshly boiled water, so I can do this. What we're doing here is using the water to have the funnel adhere, or have the filter paper rather adhere to the funnel a bit more, and also it's going to scald away any of that kind of papery taste you can get on filter coffee if you don't do it right. So filter into cauldron, airlock, removed from other cauldron. Yeah, that definitely sounds more alcoholic this time than it did previously. It smells quite sweet still, but yeah, it definitely smells more alcoholic. So I'm just going to pour this in a bit at a time. This does take a while, so I'm probably going to stop the video and come back to it. In the meantime, actually, I'm going to get rid of the water from our other cauldron and take this guy out of the bag and assess the damage. Okay, so that is potion 1 filtered off. If we look in the old cauldron here, you can actually see, as I was pouring it, all the dead yeast that collected here. Some of it doesn't look completely gone, but it's now been filtered off, thankfully. And if we look in here, this little bag of grossness, you're going to see dead yeast and the raisins we use as nutrition. I'm going to set those aside because we don't need that anymore. Pop that back in there, and we're going to close this guy up. I'm not going to balloon this because I don't think there's anything left to be taken off it. It does smell like alcohol, and I'll do a taste test now in a couple of minutes. We'll see how that goes. This guy is the one I'm worried about. So the bottom of this, the bag definitely smells like vinegar. What I'm hoping though, because I can't see any gaps, is that I didn't leave enough room for off-gassing, so it bubbled up so fast that it bubbled some of the water through here and through the tiny little holes I pricked, which I can actually see. It almost looks like blood holes there because of obviously the color. So I'm hoping that spilled through, but as it was pushing out, bacteria couldn't get in, and then when it settled down enough, it stopped. So the bacteria that turned into vinegar was just in the bottom of the bag, but this stuff here will be our delicious summer fruits mead. I don't know yet though, so let's open it for the first time. That actually doesn't smell too bad. It doesn't smell nearly as vinegary as the bag. So what I'm going to do now is set up a new filter. I'm just going to boil another filter paper. Okay. Now this bit's going to be a bit longer because obviously you can see the size of the fruit and stuff there. What I'm going to try to do is actually use my now sanitized sieve and sieve off the major parts. So this will probably take a little bit longer than this. I can see leaves at the bottom here, and obviously all the fruit came to the top. So we've got apples, cherries, black currants, blackberries, and I think some raspberries are in there too. So hopefully they'll have imparted their flavor into mead rather than vinegar. I'm just going to try this first. That actually smells quite like the other mead, so we might be in luck. I'm going to shut off the camera while I do this because this is going to take a bit of time. But yeah, I'll be back with you in a minute. That didn't work. Okay, so that took forever. I don't know if you can see, but this is actually still going. Naturally enough, I filtered almost 5 liters through filter paper, so obviously that was going to take a long time. I'm really sorry about that bird. He won't shut up, but it's better than the guys who were driving around blaring music out of a PA because they were canvassing for a party that nobody should be voting for within their right minds. So, how'd it go? Used up a few filters, got a lot of fruit out. That's going to be going into the compost bin. Unfortunately, nothing else can be recycled. It smells pretty good. I did change the filters regularly because obviously they were getting clogged with fruit, but also from the sheer weight of fruit, sometimes the filter paper broke before it had a chance to be changed. So some solids did get through. Now I don't think I'm going to put a balloon valve on this guy. I think the fermentation's done. So I'm just going to leave it, and in a couple of weeks, re-rack it along with this guy here. This is what's left. A lot of fruit, a lot of yeast, but if you smell it, it actually, you can get a lot of the fruit smells. It smells quite meaty, but then there is a lot of apple in there, which I quite like, but also it smells quite alcoholic. I do think what I hoped for happened, where in the original off-gassing I lost some of the liquid, and that's what turned to vinegar, but this stuff here I think is okay. We're almost done. So yeah, even if I were to re-rack and do a secondary fermentation, if there was any yeast left alive, I don't really want to. I think from what I'm smelling, I think the alcohol level is high enough. I mean, I still want to be able to drink it. This is infuriating, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try this stuff. So, this is batch 1 from Potions Class Part 1. Bit of a there's that opens up. Okay, there's a few bubbles on it. The mead in batch 2 obviously is down to here as opposed to here. I lost some space due to the amount of fruit, obviously enough, and then there was also a couple of spillages as I was trying to fix filters, but I think we've enough of it. Just a little taste. So it still looks quite cloudy, got that kind of cloudy lemonade look to it. It definitely smells less sweet than it did the last time I did this. It smelled very honey-like. It was just honey and water. Well, that's mead, but it smelled like that was all it was. Whereas it doesn't smell more alcoholic, but it definitely smells less sweet. I don't know why those children are screaming in the background, but hopefully we can ignore them. Oh, that's nice. me one sec. Sorry there, I just paused the video because of the screaming and because some people were walking by. It's very nice, very drinkable. It does taste quite sweet, but not overpoweringly so. Not like a sweet wine sweet, although technically I suppose that's what it is. It's quite nice, and it has, without being burny, it does have a little bit of that alcoholic warmth as it goes down. I would say Potions Class Part 1 and Batch 1 is a success. I was saying to somebody, one thing I wanted to try with this was to make an old-fashioned, but instead of using like simple syrup for the sweetness, I was going to throw this stuff in, because I know one of the pubs in Dublin does an old-fashioned with honey as a sweetener instead of simple syrup, so I thought this would be interesting. But no, this is totally drinkable on its own. So hopefully in a few weeks we're going to stage 3 this one, because I'm going to have to refilter this to get rid of any solids that did come through. This guy, we'll see how it goes. Might refilter it just to clear it up a bit, but I'm happy enough as is. So I'll get a couple of bottles. I have corks upstairs. I'll get a few bottles and filter this guy through, and maybe start bottling this one. And a couple of weeks after, we'll have this one ready to go as well. So I'm going to call that done. There's the tiniest bit left to go through there, but it's just annoying me at this point. There we go. So to be honest, let's check this guy out. I'm just going to give the glass a quick rinse. I don't think my palate is exactly refined enough when it comes to mead to tell the difference, and I don't think this is going to overpower this by any means, but we might as well give it a fair test. That smells like a summer wine, alright. Smell actually reminds me of myself and my brother making elderberry wine as kids, which was of course just elderberry juice, fresh elderberries and mushed together with a load of sugar, and it was lovely. Of course, now that I'm a bit older, I realise if I had thrown some yeast in there and left it for a while, I would have actually made elderberry wine. I'm not going to comment too much on the cloudiness of this. It does have the same kind of cloudiness as this, except there is definitely some solids here. Like there's a berry in this. I'll wait till the plane's gone by. So yeah, I think he's gone far enough that we can't hear him now. As I was saying, there is a berry in here from when the filters broke, but I'll give it a shot. Again, it does smell quite alcoholic, without being like hard, spirity, burny. They're obviously very professional tasting notes. It's not great. But it does have quite a bit of that fire. So, I don't think it's vinegary. What I think is happening is it's got a sharpness to it. It is not sweet, which I would have expected with the fruits. There's definitely some of that fruit flavor there, but it's not sweet. Every car in town is driving by it. So yeah, as I was saying, it's not sweet, which I would have expected with all that fruit. I think it needs to be refiltered, and I think it needs time for those flavors to mellow out and the alcohol to, well, it's not going to diminish, but kind of for the flavors to round out together. I think I have made a high alcoholic mead rather than a vinegar. What is going on? So I think I have made a high alcoholic mead rather than vinegar, so yay that it's not vinegar, but it is actually quite... like you could drink it, but it's not at its best yet. It's kind of got a sourness or a bitterness, which I think might actually be coming from those apples. They were family apples, like big cooking apples, because I thought that would give a stronger flavor due to the amount of honey in there and the amount of other fruits. I thought having that kind of Bramley flavor would be a good idea. What I can do, I have a significant amount of frozen summer fruits left. I may actually put them into this, so when we re-rack, we will have the same issue of going through all the filters and stuff as well, but they'll allow their sweetness to kind of permeate this a bit more and hopefully overpower that bitterness without a fermentation actually happening. So it'll be like back sweetening it. It's drinkable. It smells like mead. Oh, actually that last, yeah, as it actually went down, it tastes a lot more like a wine, like a fruity wine. So maybe this has been a success. I think I will still add in some of that fruit to see what happens as an experiment. I think this is probably the more alcoholic of the two, but this one is the nice, easy, drinkable, sitting on your summer porch kind of one. Some peaches would have been nice. Yeah. That's very much softer, much more easily drinkable. Okay, I am going to go pop this guy upstairs, date them both, pop this upstairs, back sweeten this, and pop that upstairs, and clean up here, and get this video up to you. So hopefully, hopefully you guys are watching. Obviously, be sure to like and subscribe. You know how YouTube works. If you actually do like what I'm doing, if you think it's interesting, if you think it's fun, give me a comment, shoot me a message, whatever, and I'll keep it going for you guys. The channel was just started as a bit of fun, bit of magic, bit of Harry Potter stuff. If you like how it's going, let me know. If there's anything in particular you'd like to see from the magic or Harry Potter worlds and stuff, let me see. That can be done on a budget of nothing. But yeah, let me know what you think. Leave me a comment, leave me a message on Instagram at Sensorcel on Instagram as well. And okay, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.